Yep, it's fine. So we'll have a little countdown.
What happens? I haven't done
Nothing
this.
yet. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of She Renovates. Now, before I introduce you to our delightful guest, I just thought I should mention to you that we are currently mid-renovation in our own home, and so hence my surroundings are pretty ordinary. So we have the surveyor in today who's surveying for the lift. Yeehaw! And so that's why things are not looking the same. So, okay, so now I want to introduce you to our lovely guest, and that is Maria Vlahos. Now, she is a seasoned mortgage broker and property investment strategist with over 2 decades of experience. Her expertise lies in empowering women to achieve financial independence through property ownership and investment. Marie's commitment to helping women succeed is evident in her work, from negotiating property deals to providing expert guidance through her home loan, which is the name of her business. She also hosts informative seminars on various financial topics and supports women's community shelters. As the founder of Inspired by Women, Marie continues to inspire and support women in their financial journey, offering workshops and events for women of all backgrounds and stages in life. Now, welcome, Marie, and I can vouch for the fact that you do such a great job of your events. Sorry, now I'm going to start to cough and sneeze. Typical. And so I'd like you to just start by, you have 2 businesses. Give us your sort of version of what you do in each of those businesses.
Hi, Bernadette. Thank you so much for having me today. It's lovely to be here. I am a mortgage broker and an investment strategist. My branding is basically Her Home Loan because I love working with women. I think there's been a lot of women who need to have a little bit more care and love and attention. So we're basically our business is here just to cater for women and who need assistance, and just would like to just like to know how to move forward in life, even following divorce, separation. We basically help them to rebuild financially as well as through property. And also I started Inspired by Women, which is a network that I founded. That was basically quite a few years ago. That was because I found the need for women to find expert advice in many areas, and I had a huge network, so I was willing to share that with everyone. And that's how we held events with different speakers of all sorts. As you know, Bernadette, you came to one of them a few weeks ago. Just basically to empower women with all sorts of knowledge, support, just to know that there's many people out there that are here for them. So, and it's a free network. It's all about helping women without, costing a fortune, that type of thing.
Sorry, B, you're muted.
Doing really well today. I actually dragged Stephen along to one of your events because, I'm so used to going to them on my own, but I thought, you know what, he's retired and I shouldn't have to go on my own. So he was reluctant because he thought, this is going to be an all women's thing, which it predominantly was, but he was just really impressed with the quality of the event. So well done. You've impressed a pretty tough critic. So
it's good to know. Yeah. And he looked like he had a bit of fun there. So good.
He did. Yeah, lovely. So let's talk about women. Why is it that you have obviously I know, but I'd like to get your take on where women are financially.
Okay, well,
in general terms.
Yep. Okay. Well, what I was finding talking to a lot of my clients, you know, a lot of them were on their own now after, 40 years of age plus. They had less super because they'd been looking after their families, hadn't been in the workforce full time. They hadn't been able to upskill and, stay at the top of their game in many industries. So therefore, they needed a little bit more assistance as to basically for investment strategies, to how they can, fast track basically their way to a reasonable retirement as well. And, I'm really worried about the percentage of women who are now looking at being homeless after 55. That's a real concern. So, yeah, I've taken it on as a passion, and my drive is to basically really help women in that way.
Yeah. And I think it's important for those of you listening to know that there's a part you can play in this as well, because the demographic of women over 50 being without a home is getting bigger. And I just wanted to relay a story. I have a friend who is very smart and had a great job, but she separated and had a chunk of money from that. And she had a great job, but she was basically working for an alcoholic who was just completely unhinged. And in the end, she resigned. And she's been talking about building a business, but we know how long that takes to get off the ground. And the other day, I had a lunch with her, and she was talking about how she's paying $850 a week rent for a unit. And I said to her, like, how are you funding that if you're not working? And she said, yeah, my money's dwindling. And I said, I could just see her ending up in a car. I just said to her, you've got to go and get a full-time job, get a loan so that you get a house, and then you can go off and do your business thing. But you've got to get that established, even if you don't live in it. And so, and like she knew it deep down, but hadn't really, I don't know. So I do think it is important that when we've got people around us who are in that situation, that we, get them to sort of take action and make sure that they get their security. Like a roof over your head is 101.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So how can you help? Like I'm assuming she's got a broker, but how? Like if someone like my friend came to you, how would you be able to help her?
Well, basically, what I do, I go over their full financial situation. It's a full analysis to see, how much money they have, what their situation is, because we can also help people to buy investment properties. So we're using the rental income from that, even if they end up living in it after a little bit of time.
Actually, let's stop there. That's a very good point that we should highlight. So sometimes that gets missed. So basically, you call it an investment property so that you can take into account the potential rent income.
Yeah. Awesome. I have to be careful how I say that because it's,
I know.
That's why I did that.
You can tell me if I've broken any rules, but that's really important for people to know. Often people think that a home loan, if you've got a home loan, you have to live in it. If you've got an investment loan, you can't live in it. And that's not right, is it?
No, it's not right. It just means you pay a higher interest rate on it because they're assuming that you can rent it out and you will be receiving rental income. So they're charging you a privilege, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are many ways that we help women get into property. We're very strategic and creative.
I was going to say that's where the strategy comes in, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah.
And so you can hit me if I'm bringing in a topic that you're not prepared for. Sorry, I can't help myself. I also found out there's these amazing first home buyer incentives for single women.
Yes.
Single mums. Do you want to talk about that?
Okay. Yeah. There's a 2% deposit home loans available for single mums. There's lots of criteria around it. They can't earn more than $125,000. You have to have a child who's at school or at uni. I think under 24. years of age. It just means all they need is a 2% deposit. They still have to cover the stamp duty, so they're borrowing about 105% loan, as long as they can service it, and it has to be a house they're going to live in, so we can't use rental income.
No. And so I know because and I'm just bringing up this case just to make it real. My friend came back to me and she said that the government, because she was looking at buying an established property, the government would pay 30% of the purchase price.
Okay, that's something else. That's like a equity share.
Oh, so that's different. Okay.
That's something else that's available that I can help people with.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So
there's so many different things the government have.
I know, but that's like incredible. And it's not available to everyone. Like there's a limit to the number of people that you can, but 30%.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
That's why we need to submit. Yeah, it is huge. And also another great thing, a lot of people aren't aware of, if you haven't owned a home for the last 10 years, you are now eligible to be a first home buyer, which means you're entitled to the benefits, 5% deposit, no LMI, no stamp duty. And we help a lot of people with that.
Well, that's absolutely, So how much? 5% deposit with no LMI?
5% deposit, no lender's mortgage insurance, and no stamp duty up to a certain price range, which is around 800,000 or so.
Yeah.
And after that, up to $1 million, it's staggered.
Yeah. And
but people don't know about it. They don't advertise. So it's like, if you haven't owned a home for 10 years, you can be entitled to it. It depends on your earnings, of course.
Yeah. But that was only released this week, wasn't it?
The 1st of July.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, really incredible. So if you're a single woman and you're listening, get in touch with Marie to help you to navigate what you can do. So let's talk about how long you have to have had a job before you can get a loan.
Okay. Well, in some cases, depending on your situation, if you're in a permanent role, you can we need one payslip because they love that. If you're a casual role, it's normally 6 months of employment. Different lenders for different situations. So as I said, the best thing is to come and talk to me, send me an email, just a question, and from there I can basically, give you a whole scenario.
Yeah, awesome. And also there's greats. Do you have much to do with self-employed people?
I do. We have a lot of those because if you have a company and you're paying yourself an income, we just need to show 6 months of income. Basically, and the banks will double that. Some of the banks will double it to show that will be your annual income. Even if you don't pay yourself anymore after 6 months, you basically just show an amount and then, we can use that. Wow. So there's lots of little benefits and tricks. And
the other thing about being self-employed, so it used to be like if you couldn't, the low doc thing, that you had to your accountant had to sell his soul to write the letter for you. But that's changed too, hasn't it?
It has. We have some really great low doc loans available for self-employed who don't have financials. They're basically just an accountant can sign a declaration to say they presume they will be earning this much within that year. And you just sign a declaration basically to state the same thing. And the rates might be a little bit higher, but it's worth it so that you can actually, do what you need to do. So I've helped a few women with that too, especially when they're starting up your own business, and etc. You just need to have an ABN for a couple of years.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So tell me what your personal goals are in your business. Like, what would you like to see happen in the future?
With Her Home Loan, I really want to build it up to be basically, all over Australia. I want it to be a place women can come to know that they can get advice. We have experts basically in every field. I've got, legal people. I've got property advocates or people who look for property. Any person that has to do with property and finance, financial advisors, we have them on our team. And they're just on our website, so you can go in there and get direct access to them. They're fantastic people that I would completely trust and refer to you. I have to work with them for a while and know that, we have the same
we do exactly the same thing. We're under the same. Awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
And
And also with her home loan, I also want it to be, as I said, a national brand that women can come to, get the lowest rate home loans basically on the market. And we're here to help you in many ways. And, you know, we don't charge fees. We're here just to, you know, support.
Yeah. And I know that you've structured a really good deal with women's loans. How have you managed that?
Right. For one of our white label products, because I'm willing, and we've negotiated this with the lenders, 5 main lenders basically have decided that they will work with us. I take it off basically our bottom line so that we can reduce the rate available for women for this particular purpose.
So basically you take some out of your commission.
That's
or
right.
whatever
Yeah.
you earn
It's a
from
trail.
doing,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then they do as well.
We can pass it on.
Yeah.
And they're willing to help us with that. They take off fees and things like that. So we have low rate, no fees, products available.
Beautiful.
We should do it to back us, to help women, because a lot of banks want to be behind the movement.
Yeah, awesome. And so how do you get them to do that?
Well, basically, I approached one of our white label lenders through Connective, my aggregator, and he was speaking one day at a function. Oh, hang on, I've got this idea. How about, you know, so I went and had a chat to him, and he was willing, because I was willing to basically give and take away from my bottom line. He said, yeah, he's happy to match it. So they just really, when you're willing to do things like this, they're 100% behind you if they're the right sort of person.
Awesome. And so do you want to talk about some of the other initiatives you are working on as well? So things like
I would love to. Yeah.
Group project and
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. What we have is a group investing strategy. And that's actually because we're holding a Zoom meeting on it next week at 7:30 p.m. so women can climb on board and basically listen to it. What it is, it's a strategy where we can group women together. Most women, it's really hard to afford to buy property on their own because of their situations. So we can group where they can, you know, some will have higher income, some will have less money to put in, but we do it through a unit trust structure. And then it's done through a corporate trustee. So we've worked with the banks, they're willing to lend on this basis. And then together the women will, you know, look at investment properties. And we actually have a scenario that we can show them, say, you know, this property for, say, 650,000 with high rental income. And we can show them that we're trying to get positive properties available so that they're winning from day one, basically.
Beautiful. Sounds like a good thing for renovators too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can buy, you know, big properties, do all your renovations, get the right loans that are involved. I was going to talk to you about that too, because there, you know, I know a lot of people use, what did we mention last time? I think line of credits. Now they're quite expensive. So we actually have interest-only loans with offset accounts available that you can use as equity redraws or investment loans. So when you don't use them, you just plonk them aside into your offset account so you don't pay interest on any money that's not being used.
That's really good, because we did talk about that. And the banks don't like lines of credit anymore, do they?
No, and I think they're just really too expensive anyway, and you don't need to use it because, why pay extra when you don't have to, basically?
Absolutely. So that's one initiative. What was the other one that we talked about?
Was it the women's micro units?
Yeah.
This is actually something that's came out recently. I think they've been around for a long time, but this is specifically for women. One of my associates has micro units developed them, and what it is 8 micro units within one lovely house. It just looks like a a beautiful home, but there's 8 micro units inside. They each have a bathroom, a kitchenette, and then a little backyard area specifically for that unit. And then the main house has a large kitchenette area and a lounge room, so people walk in and they actually get to talk to other people. Because a lot of women, over 55, 60 plus, they're alone.
Yeah.
They might be in their big homes and that, but they're actually quite lonely. So this is a fantastic way for women to be able to mix and mingle and feel safe at night. And it's for women only.
Yeah.
And then, they have their friends there or that type of thing.
So is that built from scratch?
Yes, these particular ones are. And there's basically, if to invest in them is a fantastic opportunity as well, because the rental incomes, they only pay $358 a week rent. And the reason that's set up that way is because, if you're on a pension, I think it gives you enough to be able to pay your rent and then have, a couple of $100 a week left over to buy your groceries and, go and do things.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. So it's sort of affordable housing and it's very safe and it just looks amazing.
Yes, I think our community is very interested in the affordable housing model. And I think when I talked to you, you mentioned that was in Victoria.
Yes,
and in Victoria, their laws, planning laws, are a lot more easier going with that type of development. So it's a great initiative. And I think it's important to note that, generally speaking, and you confirm this about the project you're talking about, the all the utilities are included in that rent because, and one of the reasons, and that just makes it so much easier for the women living there to not have a whole lot of other bills coming in, and so that they know that when they pay their rent, they've got somewhere to live. It's sorry.
And as investors, I mean, you're getting just under $150,000 per annum rental income. So for you to pay off the project itself and have that money coming in every year upon year, it only takes about, I think, 13 years to actually pay out the whole,
So that's 150,000 across the 8 apartments.
That's correct. Yeah. And that's now. So, I mean, rental always goes up in line with everything else. But, you're actually providing a fantastic home for a lot of women who would normally, be having to live off people's couches or somewhere else. So not great.
Okay. And so is there anything that I should have asked you that I haven't?
Trying to think what else we do. I'm just going to have a quick look at this. Micro units. No, I think we've pretty covered a lot of the things that we do. We hold information seminars. That's something else that we're doing at the moment. They're free seminars. We just had one last week. It's called Lunch and Learn. This is to get women to come along and, get information and knowledge. Basically, we're here to pass knowledge on, all to do with self-managed super funds, anything else really that, and legal people. We've got a legal team who will be speaking at the next one. We just have so much knowledge to share, and we feel that if everyone gets to come along, they're free events, and also we're going to start doing them online so that women can hear as much as they can. A lot of the women that were there said it was fantastic. They know a lot of this stuff, but to be reminded and also to learn further information from that was amazing. So good.
Yeah, I think that there's so many developments in the area of women's finance that you sort of have to stay connected, because it's really the only way you find out. If you rely on the papers, you don't know what to believe and what not to believe. And so beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's good to have the experts basically that can tell you directly.
Yeah. Well, listen, Marie, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. I know that there will be a lot of women that watch this. Many people watch the replay. So, so if you're watching the replay, we would love to see your comments and what you think.
Yep.
But I really appreciate your work in what you're doing to help women, and for coming onto the podcast today. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay, Mike.